So let's see what we have seen until now. We now know two instructions. One is called point, the other is line. We know that after these instructions, there's something inside parentheses and a sequence of values separated by comma. Sometimes, like in this case, it's only two values. Line expects 4. And at the end of the line, there should be a semicolon to make the computer know that the line is finished. Let's try to run it without this, see what happens. You see here, syntax error, maybe a missing semicolon. Yeah, exactly. This is a bit hard to understand. It's very, very long error. But this missing semicolon is simple. So we know we add the semicolon, we run it, and now it's working. Then we have learned something about the display, like this little display we have here seems to have 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels high, tall. I'm gonna explain a little bit more about this display here in a drawing. Let's imagine this is our display. The display is made of a lot of little pixels, like this one. The reason why we are using these two numbers over here, 50, 50, is because these are the columns, they are numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Depending on how large your screen is, you can have 1280 or maybe 1024. If you're on a cell phone, cell phones have less resolution, maybe it's 400. Same for the row. I have here 0, 1, 2, 3, up to whatever, maybe 768. So to be able to, let's change the color. To draw a pixel here, you have to know which column and which row you're looking for. In this case would be 3, 3. So that's why you write these two numbers, 3, or 50, 50. This way you can choose which pixel on the screen you want to illuminate or change its color. Okay, so now that we know these two instructions, point and line, this is a bit boring at the moment because every time we run the program, we get exactly the same drawing. Would be nice if something was changing. Maybe we can add some randomness. Instead of getting always the same line, maybe every time we run the program, it can be a bit different. So let's search on the, where was it here on our reference? What is there about random? If you press Ctrl F on most browsers, you can search for something in the page. So I will type here random. Okay. So I see here there's a few things about random. Looks like there's 5 functions that do something. Maybe this last one. Let's check it out. Random. Here's some examples. They probably look a bit complicated at the moment. But let's read the description. It says random generates random numbers. Each time the random function is called, it returns an unexpected value within the specified range. If one parameter is passed to the function, it will return a float. What's that? What's a float? We don't know that yet. But let's see how it's used here. Random high or random low high. Yeah, so here it says you can use for example, random 5, and it will return a number between 0 and 5. That sounds fun. So instead of drawing here all the time the same thing, we could draw some random lines. We can replace all these numbers by some random value. Let's start replacing only these last two 99s, for example. So we will draw a line from 0, 0, which is the first pixel on the screen, to somewhere 100, somewhere randomly on the screen. One has to be careful with these parentheses. If you see, when you put the cursor here, it's showing you, illuminates the other parentheses, the corresponding parentheses. See? That's because every parenthesis you open, you must close. So this is random, open parentheses, 100, close parentheses. And this is again random, open parentheses, 100, close parentheses. And back here, you close the parentheses from the beginning. You could add some spaces if you want, so it's more clear. So this is drawing a line from this point to a random point somewhere on the screen. So let's run this thing, see what happens. Okay, so now it starts here on 0, 0, but it ends on this point. What if I run it again? Well, okay, this is very different. So every time now I run the program, it's drawing a line that starts from this corner and ends up somewhere on the screen. We could do the same. Let's replace the first two numbers with two more randoms. Let's copy this and let's paste it here. So now we will draw a line from some horizontal position in the screen, a random one, a vertical random position on the screen, and to a random destination, random X and random Y. Now every time, wow, that's a funny coincidence, it's totally vertical. Every time I run the program, it's gonna be drawing some random line. You know, one nice thing about processing is you can make animation, and it's very easy. I'm gonna delete all these points here, just leave the line. And I have to remember how did you do this? I think it was void draw, void draw. Let's see if it works, and then I explain what it does. Whoa, that's a lot of lines. Now it's becoming all black. What is it doing? Well, this is one nice thing in processing. Of course, in other programming languages, you can do graphics and draw, but usually it's much more complicated than here. Here, just we're practically with two lines, we're making this animation. Draw is a special function that is already defined that allows you to run something continuously. What does it mean? Well, you know, movies have frames. They have many frames per second. So when you show many images per second, you get the illusion of movement, of animation. Well, that's what draw is doing here. So you just have to know that anything you put inside this void draw, open, close parentheses, and then open and curly braces, all the lines that are in between are run many times per second. That's why it's drawing random lines many times per second. So when you run, it's because you are not erasing anything, then it's becoming all black slowly. Would be nice that we could, if we would erase the last line, then it would look like the line is moving. This will be the last instruction I explain in this video. It's called background. Let's go to the manual and check it out. Where is it? Control F. I search for background. It's here. Background. Okay. Here are some examples. Looks like background 51 makes this gray background. If we use these numbers, it gives a yellow one. It looks like you can even put an image as a background. The background function sets the color used for the background of the processing window. The default background is light gray. Yeah, we noticed that. You can see this. Oh, well, now it's closed, but if I run it again, you can see. What did I break? Ah, sorry. I have this background which is not finished. Okay, I run this. You can see it's light gray on the background. What else does it say? In the draw function, the background color is used to clear the display window at the beginning of each frame. That's exactly what we want to do right now. And I like this yellow here, so I'm gonna copy this line. And I will paste this here. So what will happen now? Every time, many times per second, this function is gonna be called. The first thing it will do is make the whole screen yellow. And then it will draw a random line. Let's check it out. Wow, I don't know if you can see it, but in my computer it's going super fast. It's drawing all these crazy lines, jumping up and down. So I think that's enough for today. You can do already some experiments. You can try replacing this line by maybe some random dots. And you can also try changing these values here, see what happens to get all different colors. If you check the reference, you can see sometimes it's using one number, sometimes it's using 3 numbers, or even images. So yeah, you can experiment. One thing I hope to show you is that it's good to do experiments, to search on the manual, to search on the internet, and go changing things. You cannot break usually anything too big. When you're just playing here in processing, either it will work or it will complain with some error. Then you just have to find the bug and fix it.